sung in their lives before. And they had this amazing Royal Command performance.
Simply, first of all, I thought the whole thing was just a miracle, me even being there, because that was trying to sort of explain that I too had something hidden.
Meghan Markle just got completely erased. And I am not talking about some tabloid drama or a Twitter beef. I am talking about the kind of public humiliation that happens in absolute silence. Picture this: Paris Fashion Week, the Balenciaga show, a room packed with actual A-listers. She walks in, thinking it is her grand comeback moment. What she did not know is that she was about to become invisible in a room full of people. And here is the thing, it was not just in Paris. This story gets so much messier. Quick thing before we get into this, it would mean the world to us here at the Ruby Report if you'd hit that like button and subscribe, because what happens next involves a private Los Angeles dinner and someone completely stealing her spotlight without even trying. You do not want to miss how this plays out. All right, let's get into it. The Balenciaga show was not just any fashion event, this was Paris Fashion Week. And the guest list was stacked. And Hathaway was there, Baz Luhrmann, Dame Kristen Scott Thomas, and a whole ocean of people who actually move the needle in fashion and film. These are the ones everyone else wants to be noticed by. So when Meghan walks in, she has got that look, chin tilted just right, her smile rehearsed down to the millimeter. The dress is perfect, the hair is perfect, every detail calculated for maximum impact. In her mind, this was the moment, the comeback, the remember me entrance. She was ready to reclaim her spot among the global elite. The energy in the room is electric. She positions herself gracefully right next to Dame Kristen Scott Thomas. This was calculated, strategic positioning. She is expecting that polite nod, that refined acknowledgement, maybe even a photo op. But here is where things get interesting. That moment does not come. Dame Kristen does not turn, does not smile, does not even glance her way. She just keeps talking to whoever she is talking to, like Meghan is not even standing there. This was sustained, deliberate, the kind of non-reaction that actually says everything. Dame Kristen even does this subtle thing where she slightly repositions herself, angling her body away, creating just a bit more distance. But Meghan is paying attention, and so is everyone else who knows how these rooms work. Witnesses described it like watching someone try to join a conversation that has already moved on without them. Meghan is standing there, and you can see it starting to register. The smile is still there, but it is tighter now. There is this flicker in her eyes, that split second where her confidence cracks. Her eyes do a quick scan around the room, looking for someone, anyone, to lock onto. But the energy does not shift toward her, the conversations do not pause, and nobody is leaning in to say hello. She is dressed to perfection, positioned exactly where she wanted to be, and somehow she is just there, present but not acknowledged, visible but entirely unseen. And that is when it hits her, this was not going to be her night. The room had already decided. Now, if you have ever been to a high-level event, you know there is a language that happens without words. And what happened at that Balenciaga show was a masterclass in silent communication. Dame Kristen Scott Thomas did not make a scene. She simply continued existing in her own space, as if Meghan was not occupying the same room. And here is what made it so brutal. It was professional, it was clinical, the kind of dismissal that comes from people who have mastered the art of social hierarchy. People who were there, insiders who know how these things work, they clocked it immediately. One person described it as watching someone try to board a train that has already left the station. Meghan kept that smile locked in place, but her body language told a different story. She shifted her weight. She adjusted her dress. She glanced around like she was looking for an escape route. And Dame Kristen, she did something more devastating than any outright snub. She turned slightly, just a few degrees, angling herself toward the person on her other side. That small, subtle movement created a wall, a boundary, and Meghan was suddenly on the outside of it. What makes this so fascinating is the precision. People at this level do not accidentally ignore someone. This was intentional, calculated, and executed with an icy grace. Dame Kristen was not being cruel, she was being clear, and the message was loud even in the silence. Megan's eyes started doing that thing where you can tell someone's mind is racing. She is trying to figure out her next move. And that is the cruelest part. Everyone is watching, but nobody is helping. She is trapped in this social free frame, visible to everyone but acknowledged by no one. The thing about rejection at this level is that it does not need words. There is no confrontation, no explanation, just a quiet, collective agreement that you are not a part of the inner circle anymore. And Megan felt it. You could see it in the way her smile started to falter before she forced it back into place. Her jaw tightened, her eyes got a little glassier. She was holding it together, but barely. This was not some random person brushing her off. This was Dame Kristen Scott Thomas, a woman who commands immense respect. And when someone like that decides you are not worth acknowledging, it sends a powerful signal to everyone else watching. And trust me, everyone was watching. The whispers started almost immediately. Megan stood there for what probably felt like an eternity, long enough for the reality to sink in, long enough for her to realize that this was not a fluke, this was intentional. The room had made its choice, and she was not it. A few weeks later, Megan is back in Los Angeles on her home turf. This time, it was not a massive fashion show, it was an intimate event, a private vegan dinner at the home of designer Kelly Wearstler. A carefully curated guest list where everyone is there for a reason. Megan walks in, and you can feel the difference from her Paris experience. She is relaxed, she is smiling. This is her crowd, her city, her vibe. She is wearing something effortlessly chic and is ready to own the room. The conversation flows easily at first, talk about new projects, collaborations, the usual networking dressed up as friendship. Megan is in her element, talking about her new wine brand, her foundation, and all her ventures. She has got her talking points down perfectly: female empowerment, giving back, creating meaningful change, the kind of rehearsed lines that sound genuine the first time. And here is the thing: nobody is being rude to her. People are nodding, smiling, and engaging. But there is something missing: that spark, that sense that what she is saying actually matters. It is polite interest, not genuine fascination. She keeps steering the conversation back to herself, not in an obvious way, but you can tell. Someone mentions a project, and Megan finds a way to connect it back to something she is doing. Someone talks about a challenge, and she has got advice. The energy in the room is pleasant, but it is not electric. The conversations are on the surface level. Megan is talking, and people are listening, but you get the sense they are just waiting for their turn to speak. She is trying, though. You can see the effort, the calculated gestures, the knowing laughs. But tonight, in this room full of highly accomplished women, it is just not landing the way she needs it to. And somewhere deep down, she is starting to feel it, that subtle shift from being the center of attention to just being another person at the table. Then, Emma Grede walks in. If you do not know who Emma is, she is the CEO of Good American, the brains behind some serious billion-dollar moves in fashion and business. She does not need to announce herself. She just shows up and people know. The shift in the room happens immediately. Emma walks in with this calm, quiet confidence, no grand entrance, no calculated positioning. And somehow, the entire energy of the room completely recalibrates around her. It is the kind of natural presence you cannot fake. Megan notices, of course she does. People start gravitating toward Emma. The conversations get a little louder, more animated. And Emma is not even doing anything special. She is just being herself. But the room has already decided that she is the main event. Here is where it gets really interesting. Megan is mid-sentence, and Emma, completely naturally, just jumps into the conversation. Not in a rude way, just that smooth, confident interruption that people with real authority do without thinking. And they do listen. The whole table turns toward Emma. Megan's words kind of trail off, unfinished, and nobody even notices because everyone is already locked onto what Emma is saying. It is not intentional. Emma is not trying to show anyone up. She is just existing in her own power. And that power naturally takes up space, the kind of space Megan had been fighting for all night. People are leaning in now, really leaning in, nodding eagerly, and asking follow-up questions that actually sound interested. This is what genuine engagement looks like, and the contrast is painful. Just a few minutes ago, Meghan was getting those same polite nods. Now, she is watching someone else get the real thing. Meghan tries to jump back in, but it does not work. Emma's momentum is too strong. The room has already decided where its attention is going, and it is not back to Meghan. And Emma, she is completely unaware that she is even doing this, and that is what makes it so devastating. She is not competing, she is just being herself, and herself is more than enough. Meanwhile, Meghan is over there, working overtime, strategizing every word, and still coming up short. The difference is stark. One woman commands the room without even trying, the other is trying everything and still losing ground. And everyone at that table can feel it. Meghan's smile is still locked in place, but you can see the strain behind it. By the time the dinner winds down, the social hierarchy has been clearly established. And Meghan knows exactly which category she fell into. A few weeks pass, and then the news drops. Emma Grede has been appointed as an ambassador for a major, prestigious foundation, the kind of role that comes with real influence, visibility, and a seal of approval. And Meghan, reportedly, she is blindsided. Now, here's what makes this so ironic. This is the exact kind of position that Meghan has been angling for, the type of legitimacy she has been chasing. And it went to someone from her own social circle, someone who just a few weeks ago had effortlessly outshined her. Sources say that Meghan tried to play it cool, public congratulations, supportive comments. But people could read between the lines. The tone did not match the message. Because the optics here are brutal. While Meghan has been working overtime just to stay relevant, Emma just got handed something that actually carries real weight. That is the kind of validation you cannot buy or manufacture. And it is not lost on anyone that Emma fits a very specific profile: successful, respected, uncontroversial, the kind of person who does not come with drama. She is exactly what these major institutions look for. The contrast is painful. Meghan has spent years trying to position herself as this global force for change. But when it came time for a major foundation to pick someone, they went with a woman who does not need to convince anyone of anything. Behind the scenes, word is that Meghan's team went into damage control mode. How do you spin this? How do you make it look like you're not being left behind? There is no good answer. So, they did what they always do. They redirected, announced something new, trying to keep the machine moving so that nobody would notice the gap. But people noticed, they always do. The industry talks, and the whispers were everywhere, about how Emma had earned it, about how some people have to chase relevance while others just naturally possess it, about how the world is moving on. And Meghan is watching all of this unfold from her Montecito mansion, watching someone she sat across from at dinner get handed the kind of platform she has been desperately trying to build: real, lasting influence. The message was clear, even if nobody said it out loud. While one woman rises naturally, the other keeps hustling for scraps of attention. While all of this is playing out, there is another story happening behind closed doors. The fairy tale that once looked so perfect is starting to feel more like a business arrangement. Harry, from what people are saying, has become quieter, more withdrawn. He is not the guy he used to be. Now he is sitting in Montecito, watching his wife navigate these public moments, these social disasters. And reportedly, he is not jumping in to fix it. He is just there, observing from the sidelines like someone who is already emotionally checked out. Insiders claim he is actually relieved when the attention shifts away from them. For years, he was the story, the rebel prince. But now he is watching his wife desperately chase relevance while he fades into the background. And apparently, a part of him does not even mind. The social currency she once had is depleting fast. There was a time when being associated with her meant something. That is gone now. If anything, people are quietly distancing themselves, not wanting to be the collateral damage in someone else's public decline. She is trying to fight it. You can see the effort, more events, more appearances. But it is starting to feel desperate, like she is shouting into a void, hoping that someone will turn around and listen. The problem is that the void has already moved on. The media is even losing interest. A few years ago, every move she made was front-page material. Now, it is buried. She is yesterday's news, trying desperately to stay relevant in today's cycle. It is painful to watch her realize it is happening. You can see it in the moments when she thinks nobody is looking, that brief flash of awareness when she scans a room and sees that nobody is scanning back. She knows. She has to know. The difference between manufactured presence and natural authority has never been clearer. Some people walk into a room and it just reorganizes itself around them. Others can work every angle and still end up standing alone. And Meghan is learning the hard way which category she falls into. She is present but invisible, seen but not noticed, there but not really there at all. So here we are, back where we started, a crowded room, flashing lights, and Meghan Markle standing alone. From that Balenciaga show in Paris to a private dinner in Los Angeles, this whole story has been about one thing: the difference between demanding attention and naturally having it. Dame Kristen's subtle turn was not just a snub, it was a preview of what was coming, a glimpse into how the world would start treating Meghan once the novelty wore off. Not with hatred, not with anger, but just with polite indifference, the kind that hurts way more than any public dragging ever could. Emma Grede did not set out to humiliate anyone. She just existed as living proof that you do not need to fight for relevance when you have actually earned it. And Harry, he is somewhere between nostalgia and regret, watching the woman who changed his entire life slowly lose the one thing she built everything around: attention. Because that is the thing about fame. It does not end with a crash. It just fades quietly until one day, the spotlight you depended on is pointing somewhere else entirely. The rooms that Meghan walks into do not pause anymore. The conversations do not shift. The cameras still flash, but nobody is really looking. She is there, camera ready, and somehow completely unseen. They say the crown never slips twice, and in that quiet erasure, there is a lesson. You can manufacture moments, but you cannot manufacture mattering. Fashion fades and fame fades. But the people who genuinely command respect, they never had to announce it in the first place. They just existed in their power, and everyone else recognized it. So maybe the real question is not what's next for Meghan Markle? Maybe it is simpler. When the cameras finally stop turning, when the rooms stop inviting, and when the world fully moves on, who is she without the performance, without the spotlight? For now, she is still showing up, still trying, still hoping the next event will be different. But the pattern is set, the fade has begun, and once you become invisible in rooms full of people, coming back from that, that is the hardest comeback of all. So, what do you think? Is this just the natural cycle of fame, or is there something deeper happening here? Is it possible to come back from being politely erased? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I am genuinely curious what you all think. And if you made it this far, you know the drill. Hit that like button, smash subscribe if you have not already, and turn on those notifications, because stories like this, they keep evolving. There is always another chapter.